Hi guys, I think I'm live now. If you can see me and if you can hear me and if everything is looking good, please let me know in the chat. We are doing it from a new place today. So some of the setup might not be working well. So please bear with us. Okay, I think there are close to 35 likes. Please do like the stream and please do ask any doubts that you have in the comment section so that I can answer those questions. Rakshika is saying hi sir. Yes, hi Rakshika. Lalit Kumar is saying hi. Hi Lalit. Somidip is saying hi. Hi Somidip. So today is a catchy title about how you can target 100 percentile. Now some background about why I'm doing this stream is because many people actually ask me this question about how they can target 100 percentile. Now 100 percentile will definitely involve some amount of luck. You can't really plan 100 percentile. You can really plan 99 percentile, 99.5 percentile and to some extent 99.9 percentile. But nobody can be certain that they're going to get 100 percentile before actually taking the examination. That is something that people have to understand. But you can always try to improve the probability of you getting 100 percentile by doing certain things right. Now I will tell you this stream is not about which topics to focus on or what are the important things that you have to keep in mind, because if you're targeting 100 percentile you have to be very good at all the topics. Any topic that is there is something that you should be fairly comfortable with. I'm going to discuss what are the strategies that you should use in each of the three sections, in verbal, Lrdi and Quant. Just as a backdrop, I have gotten 100 percentile in Cat 2019 and I've gotten 100 percentile in Cat 2021. I did not get 100 percentile in Cat 2020. I just missed out. I got 99.99. This is basically the backdrop. So I think I have some experience about getting 100 percentile. And because when I take the examination, I also try to get 100 percentile, which again is not a very smart thing to do if you're a test taker. Because if you're a test taker and if you're trying to get into a good IIM, it doesn't matter whether you are getting 100 percentile or say 99.95. Both of them are equally good. But 100 percentile is something that some people try to get because it also makes for a good resume point. It makes you famous. You can use it later on when you are actually trying to get into your summer placement or final placement. So getting 100 percentile definitely has its advantages. Now circling back about what it takes to get 100 percentile is if you're looking at it from all the three sections. Or if you're looking at say my scores in Cat 2019, I can tell you the individual sectional scores, the sectional percentiles. Then you will get an understanding about how much you should actually target in each of the sections. In Cat 2019 when I got 100, my verbal percentile was 99.84. My Lrdi percentile was I think 99.80 and my Quant percentile was 100. So basically when I am getting 100, in all the three sections, your percentile has to be extremely good and it should be exceptionally good in at least one section. So you need to score definitely 99.5 plus in each of the three sections and you should score 99.95 plus in at least one section. That is very important, and that one section in most cases will be Quant, because Quant score is deterministic. If you are very good at Quant, normally you do very well in Quant. It is easy to predict. Somebody who is very good at Lrdi also on the day of the examination might not be able to solve Lrdi very well because some idea might not strike them. But Quant, there are individual questions. Each question is not related to the next question. So even if one idea doesn't strike your mind and if you're not able to attempt one or two questions, that doesn't matter. Overall, you will have around 20-22 questions. So the remaining questions you will answer with very good accuracy. This is possible in Quant. To some extent, this is possible even in verbal, because even though some of the engineers and some people who are not very good at verbal might feel, I myself am not very good at verbal. So some of us might feel that, okay, verbal is also, there's a lot of luck involved or it is unpredictable. I have seen people who do extremely well in verbal on a consistent basis. In every mock that they take, they score very, very well in verbal. For example, Saili is exceptionally good at verbal. In any mock that she's taking or in any CAT that she's taking, she scores extremely well in verbal. My verbal score fluctuates. It keeps going up and down. But I know that some of the people are there who score very well in verbal. So verbal as a strength also is something that we should recognize and you should make good use of it. So for example, if you are aiming to get 100 percentile, that is a good aim to have, because if you are aiming for 100 percentile and even if you don't do very well, even if you miss that aim, you will still score quite well if you are putting in the effort of trying to go there. There is a quote which says that if you aim for the stars, you will at least reach the moon or something like that. So that even if you don't get 100, if you work very hard, then you are going to get say 99.6, 99.7, which itself is a very good score. Anyway, coming back to the percentiles that are needed to get 100, the individual percentiles, I would say that in Lrdi, you should definitely try to get 99.5 plus, because there is some fluctuation there in Lrdi. But in verbal and quant, which are more deterministic, you should definitely try to get 99.8, 99.9. Especially in quant, which of the three is most deterministic, you should score extremely heavily. If you have any doubts till now, please let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'll discuss about CAT 2020, which is 1 year where I did not get 100 percentile, because that also I think will tell us about how thin the margins actually are. For example, in CAT 2020, my quant score was 99.99, my Lrdi I think was 99.94. So in 2 sections I've done extremely well. You really can't improve upon these scores. But in verbal, my score was 98 point something, 98.6 or 98.7, which by itself is a very good score. If somebody gets 98 percentile in verbal, that is a very good score. But to become a 100 percentile, that is actually on the lower side. So because of it, I couldn't actually get to 99. Now I couldn't get to 100. Now again, if you're looking at the strategies that I used, some of the strategies that I used, I think will definitely help people, even if they're not looking to get 100 percentile, especially the strategies that I used in Lrdi. I'll come back to it. Let me first look at some questions, and after that I'll discuss the strategies that I used, which I think were key in me getting first 99.99 last year and 100 this year. Both of them I think I used 2 different strategies, which really worked out well for me. Nasi Pune is saying, good evening sir, we know that you are all India topper of CAT. I'm just curious why you did not take UPSC. You certainly have topped that also. I'm not a fan of UPSC. I'm actually quite against the bureaucracy in India, with all due respect. The entire system of lakhs of people in their 20s preparing for years together to become a bureaucrat is something that I find to be very unfortunate in India. In no other country, if you ask the smart guys, okay, the real cream of the crop, about what they want to become when they grow up, only in India will you listen to people who say that smart 20-year-olds that you know what, I'll do well in an examination and I'll become a bureaucrat. That I think is very sad. You ask somebody in say USA, they'll say, okay, I want to become some entrepreneur. I want to open a $1 billion company. You ask anybody else, or they might say, I want to become an astronaut, I want to go to Mars. There are many other things which are more productive. Only in India, because of the way the system actually works, where somebody who becomes a bureaucrat gets to live in a big bungalow with a lot of servants, with a big car, with a big retinue. All of this, because of that, there are lakhs of students who are wasting their 20s to get into UPSC, which I think is very unfortunate. So that is the reason I never got into UPSC. Ankita Swain is saying, sir, I am in my 3rd year and due to college have not actually prepared for CAT. When should I start and score good percentile? I think you should start now. The best time to start preparing for CAT is yesterday. The second best day is today. So start preparing now. You have still around 6 months. Make the best use of it this 6 months. If you are using the best use of the 6 months, I think you will be able to do quite well in CAT. And one of the first things that you should do whenever you are preparing for CAT, what is the first thing you should do? For any examination, this is actually true. The first thing you should do is look at the previous papers. When previous papers are available for free, you should definitely download them and you should go through all the previous papers. Just Google search Cracku CAT previous papers, download the PDFs at least of CAT 2019, CAT 2020, CAT 2021. All of these PDFs are available for free on Cracku. Download them and keep them in your computer or mobile phone and keep going through some of the questions every single day. The second thing which is very important is to take a few free mocks. If you're taking a free mock, even if you haven't completed the portion, you'll at least get a sense of what are the kind of questions that are asked in CAT. And that is very important because that is going to fine tune your preparation. So, and again, on that note, we are providing 3 free mocks for CAT. All of them have video solutions and all of them are in the latest pattern. They're in the pattern of CAT 2021, last year's pattern. Go through them, take that mock so that you'll understand what are the kind of questions that are asked and how you are actually faring. These are the 2 steps that you should do as a starting point. If you're preparing for CAT, these are the 2 things that you should definitely do. Mayur Vaita is saying, is it possible to get 99 percentile for non-engineers? I think it is definitely possible. Another thing that you should recognize is that Quant in CAT is getting easier by the day. And they have been actually public announcements by the people who are actually conducting CAT that they want to encourage more non-engineers to do MBA, because of which the quant questions are getting easier. If you look at CAT 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 and 2021, all of these papers again are available for free. If you're going through those papers, you will realize yourself that the questions in quant are getting progressively easier. Now, this is not very good news for people who are engineers, but this is definitely good news for people who are non-engineers, because if quant is getting easier by the day, you will not start off at that much of a disadvantage. Mridul Tiwari is saying, sir, VRC and QA are areas where you are getting a serious edge. Please guide. Yeah, QA is something that I think I'm actually quite good at. QA I'm quite good at because I solve a lot of these questions every single day. Now, many of you might have known about Cracku daily targets. That has helped me also personally when I'm taking CAT. Cracku daily targets are daily tests that we give for free. Every day we give one test for quant, one test for Lrdi and one test for verbal. Now, one of the reasons we started it, it might sound funny, but the reasons we started is because I wanted to get good experience and good practice of solving these questions on a regular basis, because I also wanted to do well in CAT. So, we started this, and every single day I record the video for the quant questions and the Lrdi questions, so that I get good experience. Now, when I'm solving 5 questions every day and I'm recording a video for that quant question, my concepts become much more clearer. And if you're actually taking the Cracku daily targets every day, even your concepts will become clearer. And if you're watching the videos that we are making, you will also understand how we solve these questions better. Similarly, if you're solving one Lrdi set every single day, that is there on Cracku daily target. And after you solve it, if you have taken a lot of time, you can watch the video. In the video, we'll explain what is the best way of solving that Lrdi set. Imagine on the day of the examination, if you have solved around say 250 Lrdi sets of a diverse variety of Lrdi sets, you will feel super confident. You will know that I have done a lot of work and I'm going to do well in CAT. And Cracku daily targets are one of the most important reasons as to why I do well in CAT, because that gives me a lot of practice when I'm explaining these questions, when I'm solving these questions on a regular basis. Mihir Sharma is saying, sir, how do you prefer to solve quant questions? By making equations or by assuming figures and using numbers? In quant, I normally tend to avoid shortcuts. This works for me, this might not work for everyone, but I know that my concepts are actually quite clear. And if you watch Cracku's video series, your concepts also will become very clear. The quant section in CAT is not very difficult. It is not JEE. JEE quant is very, very difficult. CAT quant is not at all difficult. You should first believe that. And because I have taken CAT multiple times and have done well in CAT, I can tell you for sure that the concepts are not very difficult. They are not very confusing. You just need to have clarity about the concepts. If you have clarity about the concepts, you don't need to mug up a lot of shortcuts. You can mug up a lot of formulas. Some of the formulas, especially in geometry, are useful to remember because you'll get the answer faster. As an example, for example, if you know the way in which you can calculate the area of a triangle using the circumradius and the sides, then it becomes much easier for you. You don't need to calculate it using Heron's formula of s square root of s into s minus a. You don't need to calculate all of that. So this is just an example. There are multiple ways in which you can actually solve that question, but if you know certain formulas, the answer can be approached much faster. That is how you should use the formulas. You should not use formulas to get confused. For example, if there are multiple formulas, you should know that, like in our philosophy, there are multiple ways of finding God. There is not one single God, there are multiple ways, but basically finally when you reach God, the God is the same. Similarly, even in quant, there are multiple formulas that can be used. You should not get confused about which concept you have to use or which formula you have to use. You should know that if you are using a formula properly, you are finally going to get the result, and that result will be the same irrespective of the formula that you have used. Now that clarity of concepts you are going to get only if you are very clear at the basics. So I would recommend you to be very thorough at the basics. And if you are a Cracku student, definitely look at the concept videos of Cracku. Most of the concept videos are covered by either Siley or by me in quant. They are very, very useful in ensuring that your foundation is very, very strong. Once that is done, then when you are attempting questions, you have to attempt a lot of questions. I solve a lot of these questions, which ensures that my concepts become more and more clear. And I have a confidence that my concepts are very clear. So even if there is a question which I am not understanding, or if I don't know how to proceed further, I just leave it and I go to the next question. And I am also very strict about the time that I am taking per question, in quant especially. So I always keep it in mind that, for example, if there are 40 minutes and say 22 questions, I try to get every question done in 1.5 minutes. And if I'm not getting a question, I ensure that I leave it and I go to the next question. It will never happen that I'm stuck at a question and I'm spending say 5-6 minutes. That won't happen, because that is such a beginner's mistake to make, where you spend a lot of time on one single question and then you don't get to see some of the easier questions towards the end. That will not happen. I will never make that mistake. I'll ensure that when I'm going through the questions, in most of the cases, I'm able to get a question correct in the first 1.5 minutes. In some cases, I'm not able to get a question correct. Then I ensure that I leave it and I go to the next question. So after one circle, after I finish the 22 questions, normally I have around say 10 to 15 minutes left, and I have around say 5-6 questions left. Then I go through again each of the questions and I try to see what are the questions that are easier, because I've already had a go at some of these questions. The second time I don't need a lot of time. So again I clear some of the questions and finally I'll be left with 2 or 3 questions. Then I spend whatever remaining time is there to try to get those questions correct. This is how I proceed. Now coming back to Lrdi. Lrdi, I think it is useful for you to remember the tricks that I use to do well in Lrdi. I think let me know if my connection is good. If my connection is good, I'll start continuing. Okay. How to prepare for Lrdi, Pravi Agarwal. Okay, I'll tell you how I attempted Lrdi in the examination. Just give me 1 minute. Roshni is saying your total marks out of 198. I don't remember exactly. I think it was around 162 or 163. It was in the, I think it is in the lower 160s, between 160 and 165. I don't remember exactly. Harsh Sinha is saying, sir, कितने साल का last year paper करना होगा? On Cracku, you can find the previous papers from Cat 1990. Now, if you're a serious aspirant for Cat, the least that I would expect you to do is Cat 2019, Cat 2020 and Cat 2021. Those PDFs are available on our Cracku site for free. Download them and keep it on your computer and keep going through some of the questions every single day. I'm weak at quants, what should I do? Self-study to clear basics or direct coaching? I think having coaching will definitely help. Self-studying, I don't think your concepts will become clear using self-studying. This is my personal opinion, because concepts are very important. You can practice on your own. You probably don't need a lot of coaching to practice, because the onus for practice is on you. You just need to get a good source of questions and just keep solving them. But for your basics to be clear, I think you'll need some coaching, because then it becomes easier. Otherwise, it is like you're reinventing the wheel, which is not needed. Soumyadi, please tell the number of questions you attempted in Quant and number of sets in Lrdi you attempted. In Lrdi, this time what I did was, I think there were 4 sets. One set was a very simple set on DI, which I solved. The other 4 set also I think I solved. So those 8 sets, 8 questions I got correct, and I got stuck in the 2 6-question sets. This is in Cat 2021, and I got very badly stuck in both of them. But what I was able to do is, in both of those sets, I could figure out that there are 2 cases possible in both of these sets. So for example, in one 6-question set, either case A or case B is possible. In case A, the table will look in a particular way. In case B, the table will look in a particular way. That was one way in which we can solve the first 6-question set. A similar situation arose in the second 6-question set. Again, I was able to figure out that there are 2 cases possible. Let us say this is case P and case Q. Now, if I am able to figure out which of the 2 cases is possible in both of these 6-question sets, I'll get both the 6-question sets correct. But I was not able to progress any further, and time was running out, so I was not sure what to do. This was the situation towards the last 2-3 minutes, and I was not able to figure out whether it is the first case or the second case in both of these 6-question sets. Then I took a call, which I think was a smart call, where I said that, okay, for the first 3 questions in the first 6-question set, in both the 6-question sets actually, in the first 3 questions, I assumed that the correct answer is case A. And in the last 3 questions, I assumed that the correct answer is case B. This way, I was sure that I was at least getting 3 questions correct in both of the sets, because it is either case A or case B. Now, luckily for me, in some of the questions, the results of case A and case B are the same. For example, if you are drawing a table, It is say A, there was one question in my slot which involved a table of some delivery guy giving ratings to people on different parameters. Now in both the cases, the ratings of certain members was the same. So for me, I was definitely getting that question correct because I know that it is either case A or case B. But because I distributed my answers across both the cases, I was getting some questions correct in both the sets, even though I was not able to answer either of the two sets completely. But I got a few questions correct that way, and I did actually quite well in Lrdi also. I think I got around 41 or 42. Basically, it was like I got 6 questions correct, where there was possibility that I would get 0 questions correct. But I got, I think, 3 questions correct and in the first set, and I think 4 questions correct in the second set or something like that. Now, this I think was a strategy which I got based on quick thinking and not getting very stressed out or losing composure. It is very easy for people to lose composure, especially in Lrdi. But you should keep thinking on your feet. This is the situation and what is the best way in which you can come out of the situation. This happened in Cat 2021. I think in Cat 2019 or Cat 2020, there was another situation where also I think I did well in Lrdi, where again there was a 6 question set. I think this was Cat 2020, where there was a set in high-low. There was some question in high-low, which I think is Cat 2020, and it had a lot of theta questions. Now many people would not, or at least forget to put some number in the theta questions, but I did not get that question, that set at all. I couldn't understand what that set was because of time pressure, and I myself was nervous and I was not able to really focus and grasp whatever instructions were given. This was towards the last 5-6 minutes. 5-6 minutes were left in the section. I was not understanding the set. I was not able to think properly. Now what do I do? So I thought I'm going to look at the questions. And luckily, I could figure out by looking at the question, the group, that there was a game that was played and the number of rounds that were played was just between 1 to 5. There were not a lot of rounds. And I think there were 2-3 questions which were theta questions which asked about some particular incident which happened, and we are required to guess which round it happened in. Now that I thought was such a good question for theta, because that will be some number from 1 to 5. And I put number 2 or number 3. And I got both the theta questions correct, and that again was quite lucky. But this again I felt was using and thinking on your feet, where suddenly you realize that okay, this is a theta question, and you don't put a random number. You again go through the set to understand what can it actually be. Then you figure out that okay, this has to be a number between 1 to 5. Now you put some number, there is a 20% chance that you are getting it correct, and if you don't get it correct, you are not losing any marks. And imagine if you get a question correct, you are getting 3 marks. 3 marks is super valuable in Lrdi. This is the second thing that you should not forget. Another thing that happened, I think this happened in Cat 2019 or 2020. There was one set in which there was a distribution of trees. I think this also is Cat 2020 only, I don't remember, where there's a distribution of, there's a plot of land which has to be distributed, I think, across 2 sisters or 3 sisters, and each area, each plot had a certain number of trees. It was again a complex question. It was 6 questions. So I think this is also Cat 2020. So again, it is difficult. You can't, and in that I made a mistake when I was actually solving the question, because I didn't read one line. That line was giving some important clue, but it was a long set to read. So I missed out that one line. Again, because I missed out that one line, I was getting 2 cases possible, where either the distribution of the number of trees was either distribution A or distribution B. I was not able to make any further progress. If I had seen that one particular line, I think I would have solved the set, but I was in an examination, you can't be super efficient. So, and because it was a long set, I was not, for some reason, I was just skipping that line and going to the next line when I was trying to read the question again. So what I did was, and I spent a lot of time on it, 10-15 minutes elapsed. So I was not making any progress. I knew that it is either case A or case B. So what I did was, I looked at some of the questions, and looking at one of the questions, I looked at the options, and I assumed that case A is correct, and I looked at the options, and none of the 4 options was actually being satisfied. Then I knew immediately that the answer has to be case B. You understand what I'm saying, right? So it is either case A or case B, the distribution of plots. And when you're looking at some of the questions, I think the 3rd question or the 4th question, I was able to figure out that if it is case A, none of the 4 options is being satisfied. So definitely it is not case A, it has to be case B. And then I got all the 6 questions correct, because now I suddenly knew that it was case B, and I knew the distribution. These are things that you should think on the feet. And these are the ways in which you think on your feet with experience. And how do you get experience? You get experience by taking a lot of mocks. And when you're taking mocks, you should not again be egotistic. You shouldn't feel that I'm going to solve this set, and only after I solve the set, I'm going to attempt the questions. The onus or the objective for you when you're solving questions or when you're taking a mock is to ensure that you're trying to score as high as possible. It doesn't matter whether you're solving a question or you're getting the answer correct. In this particular case, the ends justify the means. It doesn't matter whether you're actually getting the entire set in a good way, in an elegant way. That doesn't matter. Whether you're getting the question correct or not is what matters. And that is something that you should remember. Guys, we have more than 100 people who are watching this stream live. Please do like the stream. If you like the stream, more people will join our stream next time. And if more people join our stream, we will be more incentivized, we'll be more encouraged to conduct these kind of streams regularly. One more thing I want to ask people who are in the chat, how many of you have actually downloaded the Cat Syllabus? How many of you know the Cat Syllabus very well? That is one of the first things that you should do when you're preparing for Cat. I would recommend you to first go to our website, download the Cat Syllabus PDF, keep it on your page, keep it on your mobile phone or in your laptop, and if possible, take a printout of it and keep it and stick it on your reading table. Let me answer a few questions, and after that I'll go to the Shubham Gupta is saying download, sir. Khushbu Chauriya is saying I know. Mohit Mathur is saying where is it? We have just posted the link to download the Cat Syllabus PDF. Definitely download it. It is very important, and if possible, take a printout and put it on your reading table so that you know exactly and you keep getting reminded about what are the things that matter in your life in the next 1-2 years. Hello sir, for solving daily task in Cracku, generally how many hours does it take? The Cracku schedule, so for premium students, every day we send a mail where we give them a certain task. The task will be either watching a video or solving a list of questions or taking a mock. So for premium students, it will normally take, we'll give you all the materials, and it should take you around 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis. We believe in consistent hard work. If you're working on a consistent basis from now till CAT, you're going to do very well. And every day put in 2 hours. That will be very good. And we are providing you the materials also, right? We are telling you in these 2 hours, these are the things that you should complete. These are the videos that you should watch. So there is no uncertainty for you about what are the things that you should do. Pranav Anand is saying, sir, I'm scoring 70 percentile in mock now. How can I scale it up to 99 percentile? If you're trying to target 99 percentile, you should definitely be very good in one section. And that one section has to be either verbal or quant. It cannot be Lrdi. Like I said earlier, Lrdi is volatile. You can never predict how well you're going to do in Lrdi. There's a lot of luck involved. If you heard what I've said in the last 15 minutes and how I had to think on my feet, you could clearly figure out that even though I've scored 100 2 times, I myself am not super confident of Lrdi. I can't say that, okay, I can't even say for sure that I'm going to score 99 percentile plus in Lrdi. I can be very certain that I'll score 99.95 plus in quant, but I don't think I can score 99 plus. I can say for certainty that I'll score 99 plus in Lrdi, because Lrdi is like that, which is uncertain. If I don't get one idea in a Lrdi set, sometimes ideas don't strike you, then you're not going to get it. But verbal and quant are more predictable. So if you're trying to aim for 99 percentile, you have to do very well in one of these 2 sections. Very well, I would mean at least 98 percentile plus. And try to ensure that the remaining 2 sections don't bring you down. If you're targeting 99 percentile, a good way is to score 90 percentile plus in the 2 sections which are not your areas of strength. And in one section which is your area of strength, you have to really do well. 98 percentile, 99 percentile in that one particular section will hike up your overall percentile. That should be your target strategy. Shreya Das is saying, how many mocks should we write? It depends on your on you individually. I would recommend you to take, if you're a serious aspirant, I would recommend you to take at least 30 to 40 mocks from now till CAT. Meir Sharma is saying, sir, I scored 99.67 percentile in quant last year, but overall could not scale up. Okay, what do you mean? That you didn't do well in Lrdi and verbal? That's what you're saying. In my recent mock test, my scores are around 9500. How do I scale up to 130, 140? It depends on you. I didn't understand your how much you scored in the remaining 2 sections, so I can't really comment much. 99.67 in quant is good, but you can definitely increase it further. What I mean by that is, if you're looking at the scores that somebody has in quant, And if you're looking at the score that somebody who has 99.6 gets and somebody who has 99.9 gets, there is a big gap. Now, that big gap can be made use of. If you're already scoring 99.6 in Quant, you can definitely work harder on it, because if you're increasing it from 99.6 to 99.9, you're going to get at least 10 marks more. And that 10 marks will push up your overall percentile significantly. That should be your strategy. You understand what I'm saying, right? If you're looking at 10 marks and if your overall percentile is say around 99, with those 10 marks, it will suddenly jump up to 99.2, 99.3, which looks much better. And if it is already at around say 99.2, 99.3, with additional 10 marks, you will be hitting 99.6, 99.7. So you are getting close to that gem I am called percentile that is needed. Anurag Jairaj is saying how to score 100 percentile in CAT. Go through the stream, dude. I'm just doing that stream on that now. SS is saying, sir, are good academics and good percentile only two criteria for getting into IIM? I have no work experience or internships, but getting good percentile marks and decent academics. Yeah, I think if you're looking for the percentile that is needed to get a call from the big IIMs, we have developed a very useful tool for you. It is, you can Google search Cracku CAT percentile required for IIM call. We'll even post the link in the chat. Now, once you go and input your details, you can say that, okay, this is the 10th marks I got, this is how much I got in 12th, this is how much I got in BTech, this is the work X I have. We are going to give you the percentile that you will need to get a call from each of the top IIMs. That will help you figure out how much you need to score in CAT. Okay guys, please do like the stream. I'll answer 2 more questions and after that we can end the stream. Rishabh Panchal is saying, sir, I have 3 years of work X currently. Will this be a disadvantage in CAT 2022? 3 years of work X is not at all a disadvantage. 3 years of work X is actually good. Even if you have 1 more year's work X or 4 years, that also is completely fine. You should not worry about it at all. You should worry about it if you have say 8 years or 9 years of work X. Then you will probably feel out of place in the system in a 2-year PGP program. To get into an IIM, your work X will not be a hindrance at all, even if you have 8 years or 9 years of work X. In fact, you'll suddenly look like a candidate who is different from the rest, and the interviewers will be very interested in your story. So having a lot of work X is not something that you should be defensive about. Especially if you are having 3 or 4 years of work X, you will be exactly in the bang in the middle. So you will not look out of place at all. So don't worry about it. Jay Pagare is saying, sir, what was your VRC strategy? Did you attempt all the RCs? I attempt all the RCs. My VRC strategy when I'm preparing is very simple, because VRC is by area of weakness amongst the 3. So what I do in VRC is I take all the verbal sectionals of Cracku. Verbal sectionals of Cracku are designed by Siley. So I don't look at them when they are actually being published. So what I do is I take it as a CTES aspirant and I take all the verbal sectionals of all of our mocks. So this would ensure that I get good practice, and I also give feedback to our content team about how the mock actually looks like. And our verbal sectionals are actually very, very good. Verbal sectionals in our sectional tests as well as in our mocks are very, very good, and they help me quite a lot. So this time I actually scored 99.99 in verbal. Even though I was not, I feel I'm not very good at verbal, I was able to do very well in verbal this time. I think our sectionals and our mocks helped quite a lot in improving my verbal sectional score. My strategy in verbal ability, this I say multiple times in my mock analysis or even when I'm taking this sectional test, is that I first attempt, because verbal is the first section that we attempt and my mind is very fresh. The first thing I do is I try to solve 2 RCs. Because RCs are intensive, you need to put in your 100% of your brain and your concentration levels. But after 2 RCs, my brain is tired. It wants to relax a little bit. So I try to do some of the verbal questions which don't involve as much intense effort. And after solving some verbal questions, that is giving my brain some rest, I again go back and try to solve 1 more RC. After that, my brain is more or less done. It can't really put in as much effort in reading a passage. Then I try to finish all the verbal questions. And the last RC, I try to answer it based on the questions. That is not a very smart strategy to do, but because I'm very tired and I can't really focus on the passage, what I try to do is I look at the questions and I try to find out where that question is in the particular passage and I try to answer it based on it. This is the strategy I follow and it works quite well for me. Palak Akkar is saying, sir, how do you choose those 2 RCs? So basically I go through all the 4 RCs. By go through all the 4 RCs, immediately when I look at an RC, if I read a couple of lines and I just skim through the entire RC, I figure out what the RC is about. Is it a science and technology RC? Is it a philosophical RC? Is it an RC which is based on current affairs? Is it a political RC? Is it a subjective RC? You can immediately figure out. And there are certain RCs which I am interested in. And there are certain RCs which I am not at all interested in. So I try to pick the RC which will hold my interest. For example, I know that I am quite interested in sports. If it is a sports RC, I will definitely answer it first. I am also quite interested in, say, politics. So if it is a political RC, again I will probably answer it. I am also decently interested in science and technology. So I will probably go there. I am not super happy with philosophy. So if it is an RC which discusses philosophical issues, I know that I can't really concentrate so much. So I will keep it to the end. Similarly, if it is an RC which is, say, somebody's opinion or something to do with, say, psychology, dreams, you know, the vague RCs that come up, right? So those are RCs that I don't probably go through at the start. I'll go to them towards the end. Okay guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll have to leave now. But if you like this stream, please do like the stream and please do subscribe to our channel. And if you are having any doubts which unfortunately I was not able to answer, please post them below this video so that I will definitely go through them and I'll answer each one of your comments. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.